It was the middle of winter, and the snowflakes were falling like feathers in the sky. The Queen sat at her window, working. Her embroidery frame was made of ebony wood, and as she worked, gazing at times out on the snow, she pricked her finger, and there it fell a drop of blood, and then another, and then another. 3 drops of blood on the snow. And when she saw how bright and red that it looked, she said to herself, "Oh, that if I had a child as white as snow, and as red as blood, and as black as the wood of the embroidery frame." Well, not long after, she did have a daughter, with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony wood. And she was named Snow White. And when she was born, the Queen, she died. After a year, and one day had gone by, the king, he took another wife, a beautiful woman. Oh, but she was so proud and overbearing, and she could not bear to be surpassed in beauty by anyone, even a small child. Oh, she had a magic-looking glass, and oh, she used to stand before it, look at herself. She would say, "Looking glass upon the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the looking glass would answer, "You are fairest of them all." And she was contented, for she knew that the looking glass spoke the truth. Now, Snow White was getting prettier and prettier by the day, and when she was 7 years old, she was as beautiful as the day, and, well, far more so than the Queen herself. So one day, the Queen went to her mirror and said, "Looking glass upon the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" The looking glass answered, "Queen, you are full, fair, 'tis true. Oh, but Snow White is fairer than you." This gave the Queen a great shock. She became yellow and green with envy. And from that hour, her heart turned against Snow White, and she hated her. And envy and pride, like ill weeds, grew in her heart, higher and higher, until one day she had no peace, day or night. At last she sent for the huntsman and said, "Take the child out into the woods, so that I may set eyes on her no more. You must put her to death, and bring me her heart for a token." The huntsman consented, and led her away. Oh, but when he drew his cutlass to pierce, Snow White's innocent heart. Oh, she began to weep, and to say, "Oh, dear huntsman, do not take my life. I will go away. I promise I will go away into the wild wood, and I will never come to this house again. Please, I promise." Well, as she was so lovely, the huntsman had pity on her and said, "Oh, away with you then, poor child." We thought the wild animals would be sure to devour her. And it was as if a stone had been rolled away from his heart when he sped to put her to death. Just at that moment a young wild boar came running by, and so, well, the huntsman he caught it and killed it, took its heart. He took it back to the queen for a token, and it was salted and cooked, and the wicked woman, she ate it, thinking that was the end of Snow White. When the poor child found herself quite alone in the woods, deep into the wild woods, she felt full of terror. Even the very leaves on the trees made her fright. She did not know what to do. She began to run over the sharp stones and through the thorn bushes, and the wild beasts, they ran after her, but they did not harm her. She ran as long as her feet could carry her, and when the evening drew near, she came to a little house, and she went inside to rest. Everything there was so small, but as pretty and as clean as possible. There stood a little table, ready laid and covered with white cloth, and 7 little plates, and 7 little knives and forks and drinking cups, all lined up, and by the wall stood 7 little beds, side by side, covered with clean white quilts. Why, Snow White, being very hungry and so thirsty, why, she ate from each little plate just a little bite, just a little porridge and a piece of bread, and she drank a little sip out of every cup, just a little one. She did not finish any of the portions. Well, after that, she was so tired that she fell into a deep sleep on top of one of the beds. It did not seem to suit her. She tried another one after a fitful roll and tumble of rest, and one was too long and another too short, and at last the 7th, was quite all right. She laid her little head down and committed herself to heaven and fell asleep. And when it was quite dark, the masters of the house, they came home, they did. They came home, and who should happen upon the door was 7 small men, dwarfs, whose occupation was to dig underground amongst the mountains. And when they had lit their 7 little candles, well, it was quite light in the little house. They saw that someone must have been in, as everything was not in the same order as in which they left it. The first one said, "Who's been sitting in my little chair?" The second one said, "Who's been eating from my little plate?" And the third one said, "Who has been taking my little loaf?" The fourth one said, "Who has been tasting my porridge?" The fifth said, "Who has been using my fork?" The seventh, or rather the sixth, said, "Who's been cutting with my knife?" And the seventh one said, "Who has been drinking from my cup?" Then the first one, looking around, saw a hollow in his bed and cried, "Who's been laying in my bed?" And all the other ones came running, and one by one they too exclaimed that someone had been laying in their bed, until finally they came to the last bed. And who but should they see but little Snow White laying there asleep? Well, the seven little men cried out in astonishment. And little Snow White, she woke up and she was frightened. Well, they seemed quite friendly. And they asked her what her name was, and she told them, and then they asked how she came to their house, and well, she related to them how her stepmother had wished her to be put to death, and how the huntsman had spared her life, and how she had run the whole day long until at last she found their little house. And the small men said, "Well, if you will keep our house for us, and cook, and wash, and make the beds, and maybe sew and knit, and keep everything tidy and clean while you may stay with us, you shall lack for nothing." "Oh, with all my heart," said Snow White, as she was filled with gratitude to stay. And she kept house. In good order she did. And in the morning the small men, they went to the mountain to dig for gold, and in the evening they came home and had their supper. It was all waiting for them, hot and steaming, and all day long the maiden was left alone with the good little men to keep her safe. They warned her, "Beware of your stepmother, she will soon know that you are here. Let no one come into this house." Now the queen, she knew what she was going to do. Yes, she did. And we will hear that part next time in our story. For now, we will wait and see what this queen will be doing. Stay tuned, my friends.